tonight. I know you give me all tonight. Now we dancing step to the left, step to the left. Sliding and we do well.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
That song, right? From an happy smooth ride, electric sign. That had to be one of the best songs that come out of Trinidad Soca this year. Trinidad Carnival, sorry. You disagree? Agree? Disagree? Agree? Disagree?
Neither
agree?
here nor there. I'm a fan. I'm a Nappy fan. I like his music.
I generally like his music, but that
quality.
song was really nice.
Electric sign. To each his own.
That was nice.
I like that DNA. I like DNA.
Oh well, DNA is
Anything that Kes produces, I like to. Kes could sing. And we're speaking about Trinidad Soca.
Kes produced
could
DNA.
Sing. I don't know. Kes could sing, but for like 3 minutes, I'm like hit.
No, you're alone. No, you're alone. But the time is now 9:22 and 7 and the Grenadines, and this is our open forum, or talk to me if you may, where you call and we talk about it. You message and we talk about it. The number to call 457-9997. The number to WhatsApp 457-9997. Also, you can place calls on WhatsApp, and we're live on YouTube and Facebook at WEFM99.
We.
So, Christal, I didn't get to ask you this one. How you feel about this cartel thing? It's Adidja Palmer thing. You believe that?
I think it's a rather interesting story. What happened?
No.
It's a very interesting story. Mm-hmm. So, in the beginning, I was never like a huge Cartel fan because I didn't really like his lyrics.
What about him?
He has.
What about his lyrics?
They just don't fit with what I would gravitate to.
They're too sharp on your ass.
But he has like one or two more positive songs in between there. But regardless of if I am his target market or not, I will admit that he's really good with his lyrics. English is, I think
he was an English teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, so clearly it paid off. As it concerns what the Privy Council, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the Privy Council ruled yesterday, I felt as though yesterday was National Vibes Cartel Day instead, because I saw more of that than people falling off of stages yesterday. But anyways,
that's another thing, but Monday for that.
Now it's at the hands of the Jamaican court as to whether or not they want to do a retrial. In speaking to some folks about it, they highlighted a number of points, whether or not it will make sense and whether or not, okay, they've spent so much money already, are they going to go forward, who can be sued for the time that he spent behind bars, and all these things. But just because somebody and there are people who like, okay, I don't like him because of what he was convicted for and so on, but the court and the judicial system is so interesting. Just because you're found guilty doesn't mean that you are guilty of the crime. Just because you're found not guilty doesn't mean that you are not guilty of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of like maybe presentation of evidence, and if something goes wrong with the evidence that they have, can they use back the same things that they used? And then there's the drama of the witnesses. So I know a lot of people have been chanting Free Vibes Cartel, so it probably paid off. His lawyer, on the other hand, though, his lawyer is something else.
The post he made,
not the post, just him. His general demeanor too.
That thing he posted was interesting, and I don't know how to interpret it.
He's a whole artist, right?
I don't know, but he said keep your guarding up. What I mean?
So I looked at a video where he sang a song, right? And like he's just so super confident in himself. He's everywhere. The television behind him, he's in it. The posters on the pictures on the wall, he's in it. Like he's a peculiar character.
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
There is a story on the BBC well, more than likely, other international media. The father of a Michigan school shooter convicted of manslaughter. So this father will face jail time for the actions of his child. So the father of 15-year-old Michigan school gunman who killed 4 students have been convicted of manslaughter. The trial heard that James Crumbly, 47, had ignored his son's Ethan's mental health needs, buying him the handgun he used in the 2021 attack. He and his wife, who was convicted on the same charges, now face a maximum of 15 years in prison. The case is thought to mark the first time the parents of a mass shooter have been held criminally liable. The couple are scheduled to be sentenced on April 9th. So the son killed Kate Meyer, 16, Hannah St. Juliana, 14, Madison Baldwin, 17, and Justin Schilling, 17, with a semi-automatic handgun at Oxford High School. 7 others were also injured in the shooting. How do you feel? What do you think? Should parents be held liable when their children commit offenses?
I think it depends, but in this particular case here, the story goes, he was displaying signs of mental illness, which the parent should have identified as something that's not normal and get him checked out, get some assistance for him. That's number one. Number two, you go ahead and buy your child a gun, but they're trying to ban and acquire TikTok. These things aren't making sense in the States.
I think the TikTok thing makes sense. I know a lot of people kicking up about it, but that TikTok thing makes a lot of sense.
When I mention TikTok, like I'm comparing how easy it is to get guns, but they're spending so much time to try to ban TikTok. Like, what is more important?
I feel like equal emphasis is put on different things in America, but what hits the media cycle is what people pay most attention to. Facebook faced problems, Grindr faced problems. What was the name of that other app? It was Grindr. Grindr had to sell because of their I think the Chinese influence. The other app was CapCut. CapCut had to sell as well. But because much more people use TikTok than Grindr and CapCut, it's getting international attention. So I don't think that they're focusing on TikTok and ignoring other issues. But I do think that that they should place more emphasis on oh gosh, what's the name of this bill? But gun rights, the right to hold a firearm in the United States.
Which means it's unequal. Anyways. Yeah, so I mean, in this special case
the
here,
reason why it's not I won't say it's unequal is a lot of Americans are fighting for the right to own a firearm. So when they bring bills to try to why I keep forgetting the term, but there's a term for it for gun safety, firearm safety in America. Persons tend to fight back, so every time something comes up, they get shut down. Because Americans, especially Americans, believe that they should have
Second Amendment.
Yeah, they should have a firearm.
Is that what it's called? Somebody said Second Amendment.
Yes, the Second Amendment. The First Amendment is you can say whatever you want. The Second Amendment is you have the right to have a gun. And if that's the First Amendment, the Second Amendment makes sense. But
wow.
There was a story about in Texas, 18-year-olds can have AR-15s, but not handguns.
What difference does that make?
I tell America is very interesting in that. Because remember, it's still different states that came together, so the different states could have different laws and different rules and regulations, and
just
especially
like the
in Texas.
Laws?
Yes,
yeah.
Especially in Texas, they could have different gun laws than other states, because in New York, hey, they're strict on gun laws. Now anybody could just have a gun in New York, but in Texas, Wild Wild West, pew pew.
Clearly, that's why they call it the Wild Wild West. Is that what's called the Wild Wild West? I don't know many things about America.
But yeah, but I remember, and I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct on this, but there was a local story recently, and I think it is when the stats reveal that a 10-year-old got pregnant and gave birth at Milton Cato. Somebody had said in the comments that the parent should be arrested and held liable. And that is why this is interesting to me. Under what circumstances should the parents be held liable legally? Liable. Under what circumstances should parents be arrested and tried and sentenced? But the number to call 457-9997. Also the number to WhatsApp 457-9997. We're live on YouTube and Facebook.
I think it's a case by case situation. Guidance for some of these things, case by case. For me, I would put a blanket over if, in terms of like teenage pregnancy, if it's a minor, right? You know that obviously rape was involved. Once you're under 15 years old and you get pregnant, then who is liable for that offense? Who is going to father the child in this case? I think the parents should be held accountable to some extent. Well, to the full extent, sorry. Because I find like you just hear so many stories on the ground with, oh, this 13-year-old, this X-year-old, and nobody knows, nobody wants to say anything. The child doesn't want to open their mouth, don't want to. So who did it? Who? And are they continuing to do it? Like, why aren't these people being held accountable for their actions? In the absence, of course, it's a minor, and the parent should be the one who's responsible. Put things in place so that either the parent can get the information out of the child, or something just has to be done differently. In terms of this special case or this specific case, because people are going to say, you bring child, you don't bring the mind, and you know how that goes. There might be a case where the parent does everything in their power to make sure that the child grows up in the right light, and they may not be able to see certain signs because the child might conceal certain things from the parents and what's not. I think like in that case, could understand how it might be unfair on the parents. So case by case for me.
So this is always tricky, right? I wasn't able to find the story that I saw recently, but I found one from 2014. In 2014, at some point, a 9-year-old was allowed to hold and fire an automatic weapon. But gun laws in the United States, specifically those concerning minimum legal age requirements for gun possession, are actually still surprisingly lax. So in 2014, there are states with no age minimum. There are 14 states with, there are few states, I would say one. There's one state where the minimum is 14 years old. There are 2 states where the minimum is 16 years old. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 states where the minimum is 18, and 1 state where the minimum is 21. The no minimum, surprisingly, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 20 states.
How many states is in America?
50?
52.
Let's see.
We have 6 towns in 5 constituencies, 32 islands and keys. Ask me that.
52.
52?
50. I was right. 50.
50 states. Oh, well, more than half. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at the map right there.
No wonder it's so easy for them to trickle it down to the Caribbean. By the way, gun amnesty.
30.
30?
30 of the 50 states.
30, more than half.
Mm-hmm.
Gun amnesty, still a thing. Do what you got to do. Do the right thing. Nah. I wonder if you're singing any songs this year, boy.
I hope not.
I hope so.
I hope not.
I hope so.
I hope not. But seriously, boy, what if, okay, for instance, you're a mother, right? Yeah, and I'm not calling it. I'm not calling it at all, knock wood. Your son get into some trouble. You're not seeing at home any signs that he could do anywhere. And in a lot of circumstances, they're very situational. Do you believe that you should bear the responsibility, especially if he's between certain ages? So let's say it's before 18 here in St. Vincent. Something happens that he gets in trouble with the law. He's convicted, he's sentenced. Do you believe that it's fair that you share the blame as the person who is raising him?
Right. That's what I said. It's conditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it is that it's something I didn't do or something that I deliberately overlooked, right? It was an act of my negligence in parenting that led to um him either that led to him doing whatever he did,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have to hold responsibility for my role in creating that environment for him to be influenced by XYZ and what's not.
But is ignorance negligence?
Ah,
Because remember, we always have the ongoing debate about are
education.
Caribbean parents aware of mental health issues because they're different ends of the spectrum. You don't know
Mhm.
for sure. Your child could be, and the same with depression. You could be functioning as normal, but you're fighting battles in your mind.
Correct. And what there's this saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So I guess that'll
Um,
fall into play at that point.
hmm.
Mm. But here's the spin, right? Because there are children who um have been like in the past when you look at like documentaries have been identified as like uh psychopaths
Mm-hmm.
from a
Mm-hmm.
very early age,
Mm-hmm.
sociopaths from a very early age,
Mm-hmm.
right? What if a child decides deliberately, I'm going to do this because I know I will get away and my mother, I don't like my mother. So let me try to plant something on my mother so she can go to jail and leave me alone.
Listen, the crazy thing is that's so possible. That's very, 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 very possible. You know the amount of children out of spite that call the police on the parents. That's the
Can't
other
try that
thing.
in the Caribbean, no.
That's the other thing in America that they do. They seek independence. And legally they're able to do so to file to be independent from their parents. Legally they can file for independence.
And sue your parents for having you.
Listen,
Crazy.
that was that actually like that can't happen. But anyways, but the
It was probably for
independence thing
clout. Who
always
knows?
interesting to me. If it
Mhm.
is that a family sees that you're going through it and they want to adopt you and it helps remove you from that family, it makes sense. But some children could just decide, "Oh, you have too much ranks right now, boy. I want to do things by myself. I filing for independence." Now, I
Go on.
feel like
Go on.
In a Caribbean household,
You think it easy? Go on. Look, your
listen,
Georgie bundle.
listen.
You hear it already. Eh.
No, I just imagining that conversation in the Caribbean.
Oh, that's how it gets out. Oh, oh, okay,
Oh, okay.
all
Oh,
right.
okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
The thing is that
And
I
then,
don't know.
anyways,
All of we do this thing where we conform things repeatedly, especially when you're angry. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, man. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. All right.
and then hang up.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Listen, we need to see more Caribbean stuff in movies, boy.
Mm.
You ever watch Abbott
TikTok.
Elementary?
Who?
Abbott Elementary is a comedic show, high school show. It actually won Oscars this year, was it last year? There's it was making rounds in Caribbean news because one of the actresses
I was not
are
at the bus stop.
Jamaican American. So sometimes in the show, she would put on her Jamaican accent, and it is hilarious. You should check it out. About Elementary.
Abbott Elementary.
Yes, it's
Oh,
really
just
funny.
Abbott Elementary.
The guy
I'll
from
try.
Everybody Hates Chris, he's in it. There's a number of celebrities
Oh,
that
I
are
probably
in it.
saw it,
Yeah,
but didn't pay attention as elementary. Didn't pay attention to it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but
But
all them little skits you could find them on TikTok. Well, as a Caribbean person, the only problem we have is the Creators Fund issue. At least we could still use TikTok and nobody fighting to buy it.
I don't think America is fighting to bite, I just think they're trying to remove the influence of ByteDance from it. Because the issue is the Chinese government for years have had an issue with collecting data and the use of certain data, and then there's the misinformation spread on TikTok. Facebook had that same issue in terms of misinformation where they had to go before Congress and fight the case. But There are cases where the Chinese government have collected information for U.S. journalists and misuse said information. So I can't say that they're pulling things out of thin air with TikTok, or it's just a reach to buy TikTok. It actually has its dangers, and a number of countries have banned TikTok, at least from their government agencies, so that they're not
Right.
corrupt.
I remember reading that some time ago. So why can't they take the similar stance
They're
instead of
already
trying
doing
to
it.
acquire,
They're
instead
already
of
doing
like
it.
trying to fully acquire TikTok?
I don't think they're trying to acquire TikTok. But we'll see. We'll see. You know what's funny? I often call Nancy Pelosi auntie, especially when she did the slow clap behind Donald Trump. I was like, that's my auntie. She's black. She did something so lame in that hearing that I was ashamed. She's like, well, we're not trying to take away TikTok. We're trying to make TikTok more user friendly. We're trying to make TikTok too a winner. I was so pissed. I was like, no, that ain't my auntie, boy. Can't be my auntie making them lame jokes. They're on BBC.
Look at you.
I see it on BBC. I was pissed. I was like, I can't believe she said this. Stop embarrassing us, auntie. Stop embarrassing us. But anyway.
She's trying to be hip. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. You get an A for effort.
Nah, that ain't. Take the A.
Come on.
Take the A. Get your BLC. It ain't nice.
It's better than what Donald Trump used to do again? He used to do this thing with his fingers. It's better than that. Leave him alone. As we're laughing, right? I saw this picture that's going around with Mr. Montgomery Daniel seated next to Dr. Garnard on Friday. I found it so funny because the facial expression that it looks like a screenshot from the live, but the facial expression that they caught, I'm not sure where they get the photo from, of Daniel looking like he wanted to go home. And Friday looked like he was just so displeased. And funnily, oh boy, I don't know, he was in his yellow plaid t-shirt. I was like, wow, maybe Friday doesn't like the look of yellow on you. Like you should have stuck to the red.
Before we go to community date, right? I have it here.
Oh, you have the picture?
No, the Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, leave Nancy. Leave Miss Pelosi.
I'm not leaving her.
Somebody says, as you.
To make TikTok better, tick tack toe, a winner. Tick tack toe, a winner.
Why are you so embarrassed?
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tick tack toe, a winner.
Is that a sound on TikTok now?
It should be. It should be a sound on TikTok. I'm
sound.
upset with it. I am deeply upset with it.
Somebody says here, TikTok thing is pretty deeper than tic-tac-toe, thankfully. Than just the use of TikTok, they want to take over the app. Look who is trying to buy it,
Okay,
and you will see had nothing. We could do that Monday, you know.
Right? We could really look into this thing.
This is 9:44. The child was actually drawing guns and talk about he's hearing voices. Oh boy. They were called to take him home and didn't. They were called to take him home and they didn't. Boy, this thing is crazy.
Interesting. It's a bunch of Americans trying to buy it. But we're going to. There's a lot to discuss on Monday. And you saw the article with the fight in the UK.
Yeah, look like,
there's a lot to unpack
and
on Monday.
Things will happen between now and Monday.
Uh-huh.
Well,
next week will be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting week.
Monday morning will be an interesting
It
interview.
will an interview.
You know,
sorry.
What are you laughing at?
Sorry.
I'm just thinking about
questions.
it.
Yes, I'm just thinking about my questions, what I have to bring to the table. Questions I have for you, Christal. Questions I have for Jessica. Big up Jessica this morning.
Are we talking about the same
Friday
thing?
morning?
We can't take a call, unfortunately, because we gotta go.
Yeah.
But that 15-minute interview that's scheduled for Monday, boy.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be exciting.
And next week as well, Mr. Dixon should be joining us during the week, and he is the current president of the SVGFF, and also a candidate in the next elections. All right.
Yeah.
So next week is going to be rather interesting on Activated Morning. So make sure you don't miss a beat.
Okay. And the time is 9:46 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have to make way for our community dateline.
WEFM.